We do have some that came through religious groups, the church, but obviously they didn't get much support, seeing as the church was broadly in favour of the war. The majority of them had to apply on their own behalf. They weren't given much support and they were generally unsuccessful. The majority of cases were only given a temporary exemption, around up to about 45%, I think. And they'd have to keep going back and reapplying each time. We don't actually see any Quakers come through the Mid-Staffordshire appeal tribunals, which was surprising. One of my volunteers was a Quaker and he was really looking forward to finding and uncovering these, and we didn't find a single one. I had one Mormon that came up, but he was from Canada and he alleged that he didn't have to go into the army because he was Canadian. Yeah, the majority of them were based on independent moral objection to war, and as well Christadelphians. Some that were really interesting were the change in views. As I was saying before, often people did end up going into the army. And this was one letter that wasn't actually in Edgar Emberton's case. It was amongst the hundreds of sheets of additional military correspondence that we had that one of the volunteers uncovered. And it was a letter that he sent to the tribunal asking to withdraw his certificate over a dream that he'd had, that he felt that he'd actually misinterpreted his moral objection. He felt like he could do more for the good of society by going and fighting these Germans who were bombing houses and, as he says, bombing babies and seeing their limbs fall off and that sort of thing. So I think with the project now, I think it'd be really interesting to get some more research on these 60 COs that we have, and see what happens to them in the end. I've now got just 2 volunteers working on COs in particular, and they're going on to do that. And we've also been really fortunate in working with Professor Karen Hunt at Keele Uni. She's recently retired, but we're putting together a book on Staffordshire in the home front, and all the lives and bits and pieces that happened with them.